Update. Am I the a-hole for moving after winning full custody of my sons? Original story. My wife and I got a divorce last year. Our relationship failed after she was charged with felony credit card fraud and ended up pleading guilty to a lesser charge. She had been a stay-at-home mom to our 2 sons, 5 and 3, and had taken credit cards out in my mom's name to pay for God knows what. She shattered my trust. I work full-time and make a decent living, but nothing extravagant. I had no clue what my wife was doing until cops showed up at my door with a warrant and took my wife away in cuffs and took 2 laptops as evidence. When I got the full story, I filed for divorce immediately. Aside from being a criminal, she was a good mom. She tried to justify what she did by saying she was just doing what was best for our kids, which I felt was total BS, given that she never mentioned wanting for anything. And anytime she asked to spend on something, I almost always said yes. I hired a good lawyer and asked for full custody of my kids. My ex begged me not to do that, saying she needed her kids. But she was still looking at up to a year in jail, and nothing her lawyer said could sway the judge to grant her anything more than supervised visitation. She ended up doing 90 days in jail, paying some fines and restitution, but I've allowed her to see our sons almost every time she's asked. The last year has been total hell, but we've made it work. Then a few months ago, I was offered a much more lucrative position a few states away. I talked with my lawyer about what it would mean if I moved and what the process was, and he said that since I have full custody, I have to file a petition with the court to move. So I told my wife what I wanted to do, and she exploded. She claimed I was stealing her kids from her, that she's made a lot of strides to get herself to a better place, and that she would fight me tooth and nail for her kids. Well, I filed a petition, got to go ahead from the courts, and accepted a job. When the judge gave its ruling, my wife burst into tears and began sobbing. It was heartbreaking. I know in my head that I'm doing the right thing for my sons. They're young enough that a move like this won't be too traumatic. But I also feel like their lives have already been completely overturned, and I'm just adding more to that. As for my wife, she's a wreck. She has been begging me to reconsider the move, trying everything from guilt trips, manipulation, bargaining. It's like she's going through the stages of grief. But from my point of view, she did this to herself. She lied and broke the law. I have very little sympathy for her. I know at some point she will probably try to file for partial custody, and I'm prepared for that. For now, I'm just trying to do what's best for me and my sons. Does that make me an a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. This is tough. The divorce and getting full custody? Fully deserved. Not an a-hole in that account. Moving to another part of the country where she'll have no contact with them? I'm not so sold on this. I think that you're still in pain and resent her, and rightfully so. But I'm not sure this is the best you can do regarding your children's relationship with their mother. Does she have any possibility of getting a job? Of moving? Or is she a financial mess as well? And what are her living conditions like now? Have you gone to therapy? Let me be clear. She did what she did and she's been held accountable for it. You've got a right to move from a legal perspective. But moving, when you know she can't do the same, will massively screw her relationship with your children. And it will only lead to more anger, resentment, and pain. I don't know her full financial situation. I know she's working a couple part-time jobs and has a small 2-bedroom apartment. Whether or not she could move, I don't know. She's under probation, so she'd need to apply to move anyway. My new job pays over twice what my previous did. It's a huge opportunity for me to provide a better life for my sons. I don't want to sit around here and wait for my ex to get her act together. Y'all know this begging for a gender-reversed situation? Holy crap. People are actually calling him an a-hole. OP is not an a-hole. Please, all you moms out there need to let go of your biases. I'm a mom, and all the YTAs sicken me. The mom didn't make a mistake, or a one-time bad decision. She's not a good mom. She knowingly and ongoingly committed a major crime against her own mother-in-law. A crime that directly affected her kids. Her willingness to do this, with no remorse, shows her character. A good mom doesn't choose clothes, makeup, and toys over her children. They just don't. Info. How are you going to maintain your son's relationship with her mother? Does she pay child support? If you alienate them from her, she will resent you. She may eventually be able to go back to court with a parental alienation claim. I'm reserving judgment. I haven't put too much thought into that part yet, but I do not intend on completely isolating them from her. If she can figure out a way to see them, I will not prevent that. I imagine holidays will be something we need to figure out as well. But like I said, I do not intend on preventing her from seeing our sons. She has court ordered to pay child support, but so far I haven't seen a dime, and I have a desk. Edit. Thank you to everyone who commented, even the ones who called me a heartless a-hole for taking my sons away from their mother. This post has given me a lot of perspective and I appreciate that. A couple things I want to clear up that I keep getting asked about that I wasn't able to include in my original post. 1. The area my sons and I live in is a smaller community. Not everyone knows everyone's small, but close. The crime my ex committed was news here as it was in the paper. People know about it. I get weird looks when I'm out in public. People have stopped inviting my sons to birthday parties, and I don't want my sons to be bullied and teased in school about their mother being a criminal. 2. I'm not going to permanently alienate my sons from their mother. I will make sure they are able to talk and FaceTime with her whenever they want. I will be the one who makes the drive back in order for them to see her until she is able to make arrangements to allow her to do so. I will continue to work with my ex to make sure she's included in things like birthdays and holidays. 3. I know my sons and I will all need therapy from this. There is no good mental health help available where my previous job is. My new job offers on-site childcare, and I will have access to counseling and therapy for myself and my sons that we would not have access to without moving. The schools near my new job are head and shoulders above the ones near my previous job. 4. If my ex gets her life back on track and is able to move closer to us, I'm all for it. If she does the things she needs to do in order to petition for shared custody, I don't intend on fighting her for that. But until she does that, I will not allow her anything more than the supervised visits ruled by the court. I will also not ask for any of the court-ordered child support. We won't need it. 5. To all the people who screamed, but she is their mother. Yes, and she always will be. And I remind my sons daily that their mom loves them very much, and that she wishes she can be with them like before. I am angry and resentful of my wife, but I work very, very hard to not let any of those feelings impact my sons and their relationship with their mom. And now for the update. I got a lot of people asking for an update on the situation, and since a few things have changed, I figured I would go for it. I did end up taking the new job and moved with my sons. We have been settling into our new lives quite nicely over the last month, and things have been going really well. My sons love the new house. They have made friends with some other kids their age in the neighborhood. My job has been going really well, and I really couldn't have hoped for things to go better than they have. I got both my sons into a great therapy program, and the three of us have also been doing counseling sessions together. My boys have been adjusting amazingly well, and I'm so happy and proud of how they've handled this. We've also made 2 trips back to see their mother, since she's still in the process of figuring out what she will be allowed to do in relation to her probation. We've also been doing many video calls a week with her. My sons still don't understand why their mom isn't here with us, but they do seem to grasp that this is going to be their new normal. In comparison with how well myself and my sons are adjusting, my ex is the complete opposite. She is still very angry with me and thinks I'm a complete a-hole. She's frustrated with the process of going through the courts to be allowed to move. She's frustrated that I'm not willing to drive our sons back to see her as often as she'd like. She feels she's being marginalized in their lives, and that I am pulling them away from her. When she was complaining about all of these during our last visit, I reminded her that all of those things are consequences of her own actions, and she blew up at me by saying I'm kicking her when she's already down. That I didn't need to take her sons away from her. I told her how well our sons are doing and how happy they are, and she should be proud of how strong and resilient they've been. She then started begging me to please move back so that she can be closer because she's not sure the courts will allow her to move, and the process is taking too long. I told her that wasn't going to happen, but if there is anything I can do with the court process, that I would be willing to help if I can. I reminded her that I haven't said anything about her not paying the court-ordered child support, but that our boys seem to be in a much better place already, and I'm not going to take that away from them. Every time we have a video call with her, as soon as she says goodbye to our sons, she starts asking me to consider moving back home. I tell her every time that it is not happening. I'm not a robot, and I do feel bad to see her desperate and distraught. But when I look at my sons playing and laughing with their new friends, I know I've done the right thing no matter the cost to my ex. How did she end up on the hook for paying child support given her status? It's a token amount based on her income. With my higher salary, I don't need her help to provide for our kids. But she hasn't made an effort to pay anything yet either. She's going to blame you when they take her tax refund, lol. She already blames me for a lot of things. We'll just add that one to the list. Just want to piggyback and say if she's not making an effort to pay child support in any way, likely no court would give her partial custody anyways. She's not showing she can support kids in any minimal capacity. Also, my father raised my sister and I alone, but courts ruled for 50-50 custody because of you can't separate kids from their mother BS. Both moms and dads can be incapable of being a parent. Her fraud history and subsequent emotional breakdown, as it seems, definitely puts her in the category of not being responsible enough for custody's sake. Keep up the good work. You sound like a great father. I asked this on the original post, but did your ex ever come clean about where the untraceable cash payments went towards? That's still a big thing that should bug you when it comes to trust with your kids. Encourage her to get therapy, and please pressure her into coming clean about that money, and get her to show evidence so she's telling the truth. She's made some vague statements about paying cash for designer clothes and other higher price items, but still not enough to count for all of it, and I still take most of what she tells me with a large grain of salt. That's concerning. Hopefully through counseling she might be able to get the courage to open up and admit where the rest of that money, your mom's money, went. This might just be me being paranoid, but if you don't believe she's telling you the whole truth, you might need to hold off on letting your kids see her if she gets the approval to move. That money could have gone to anything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay for my fiancé's college debts? I've through the mail always been super careful with my own money. For most of my professional life, I earned a little more than a minimum wage and always kept my costs and lifestyle on low. I've been working since 16-year-old and never got a single debt in my name. Something I'm proud of. This past year, I got a very good job. I've been able to save a lot of money so I can finally buy my own house and stop renting. I've been dating her, 23 female, for 2 years, and I met her in one of my jobs at a college. She was a student there, and because of financial problems on her family, she had to quit college, leaving some debt behind. Her parents used to pay for her college. I've been living with her for 1 year now, and I pay for everything, food, rent, etc. After moving together, I feel like her parents kinda expect me to pay for everything related to her. And her father once asked me why I didn't put her back in college to finish her course, and I told him very politely that I couldn't afford it, since it was more than 50% of my monthly income and I had rent, food, and everything else to pay for, and we get zero help from them. Today she received an email from this college saying they will pass her debts along to justice and stuff, and she could negotiate. She then called me and said, I have something serious to ask. I need you to pay my debt. I said I don't want to, because this is a debt her parents made, not me. Also, her debt is almost 50% of everything I could save this past year, and it's a huge chunk of my savings. She is silent all day after that. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Run, dude. She's 23 and old enough to know how bills work. Run. I feel like he accidentally adopted her, rather than started a relationship. Right? Like, why isn't she working? Her father once asked me why I didn't put her back in college to finish her course. Is she your child or your partner? Info. Why is she paying nothing towards expenses? Yeah, agreed. This is so weird to me. Info. You pay for her food, rent, etc.? Where's her money going? Or is she just sitting around on her butt? Do not pay, and do not buy a house and let her take it over. Yes, at the moment, she has no job. She does most of the home stuff, cleaning, laundry, etc. Edit. I appreciate all your answers. Guess it's time to have the talk with her, and put all the cards on the table if we are really to get a future together. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my wife if she's jealous of our daughter? My daughter is 15. She will be starting year 11 at school when the summer is over, and the school will be having a prom at the end of the year. My wife, 44 female and a senior accountant, was talking to our daughter about her own school leaving party. It wasn't called a prom back then in the UK, and she mentioned that she still owns the outfit she wore. She showed her a couple of pictures too. Later, when we were getting ready for bed, my wife noticed that her wardrobe was open. On closer inspection, she saw that the outfit she was discussing earlier was gone. She went into our daughter's room to see her wearing it and taking pictures of herself in the mirror. Obviously, having our daughter go into her wardrobe and trying on her things without asking was annoying, but I thought my wife's reaction was a little extreme. She asked, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" and demanded my daughter change out of it immediately. My daughter was almost in tears from how my wife spoke to her. I tried to speak to my wife about why she was so angry, but she just kept saying our daughter is not to touch her things without permission. I understand this, but I don't see why she's so enraged about it. My wife and daughter look very similar. They've even been called sisters in the past. Based on this, I asked if my wife felt jealous at seeing our daughter wear her dress. When I said this, she got even more upset and said she was going to sleep in our spare room. She isn't speaking to me today. Did I go too far with my comment? I'm just trying to figure out why my wife was so angry. You're the a-hole. The dress is probably something important to your wife, and she took care of it. And your daughter treated it like an accessory for her social media. People have some things that are important to them and won't let others touch it. It is normal, even if the person is her daughter. You messed up and should apologize. And it for the people saying the mom screaming made her an a-hole. Of course her reaction wasn't the best. Yes, parents should be perfect. But if you ever saw a parent that never once was mad because their kid did something stupid with something they see has importance, then where do you live? And for the people saying the dad isn't an a-hole because he was just trying to find out, have you been in a relationship? Because the question when your partner is mad is usually, why are you mad? Not, are you crazy? Or something equivalent. Because a mother that is jealous of her daughter is crazy. Everyone sucks here. I think this is a story that would be told so differently from all 3 point of views. I agree with everyone sucks here. Daughter shouldn't have tried it on without permission. Mom shouldn't have cursed angrily at daughter. OP definitely shouldn't have accused mom of being jealous of daughter, like the third cherry on top of your really crappy pie. A mess of bad communication. Everyone sucks here.
My brother-in-law confessed feelings for me after I went wedding dress shopping with his fiancée. Original post. This just happened today. I'm pretty overwhelmed, so I'll start with some background. I've been with my husband for 5 years, and we've been married for 2. Since early on in our relationship, I've been great friends with his older brother, partially because I've always wanted a brother. When he started dating a girl about 2 years ago, I went out of my way to make sure she knew she had a friend in me if she wanted, since we're the only girls in the family. We're great friends now, and since they got engaged 3 months ago, I've been helping with wedding planning and was asked to be a bridesmaid. We went dress shopping today and had a blast. We went to brunch, had some mimosas, found a dress, and then went back to their house to celebrate. I ended up alone in the kitchen with my brother-in-law a bit after we got there, and he said he just had to tell me something before it kept eating at him. I was a little buzzed and confused, but was not at all expecting him to say what he did. I think I've had feelings for you for a few years, and I've never been able to tell you. I just needed to know if you ever felt the same. I completely froze and just shook my head. I told him that no, I've never thought about him in any way other than as a friend and a brother, and that I never would. Before he said anything else, I bolted back to his fiancée and the other girls there and very discreetly told her I got my period, wasn't feeling well, and would have someone come get me. I told her I'd come by soon for more wedding planning. She thought nothing of it, and I called my best friend to come get me. She dropped me off at home. My husband is working right now, and there is no question that I am going to tell him as soon as he gets home. But I just have no idea where to go from there. Do I tell his fiancée? Do I make him tell her? Do I leave it? Should I have my husband talk to him? Has anyone ever had something like this happen or have any advice? Anything is appreciated. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. 1 step at a time. You already plan to tell your husband. Your husband is your teammate, so decide together what to do. This is such a hard situation to be in. He put you in a weird place. You'd be betraying your brother-in-law's fiancé by not telling her. But if you do tell her, things in the family will get weird and divided. But that wouldn't be your fault. I'm mad he did this to you. What the heck did he think you were going to do? Leave his brother for him? Right before the wedding? I would reach out to the brother-in-law and chew him out. You're right, one step at a time. I think I'm trying to think 10 steps ahead because that's just who I am. And this is impossible to plan for because it's so messed up. My husband and I always say it's us against the problem. So of course I'll tell him immediately and we'll plan together. Talk to your husband first, because what if you tell her and he tries to flip it, saying you said those things? My comfort in this thought is that I believe my husband and I have a really strong and trusting relationship, and I don't think he would ever believe that. As soon as he gets home, I'll tell him. I'm just not going to do the whole "we need to talk about something when you get home" thing, because I know that would put a pit in his stomach, and I won't do that to him. Now for the first update. Thanks to everyone who helped calm my panicked mind after my original post. I didn't want to tell my husband we need to talk while he was still at work and make him panic. So having some reassurance from here was really helpful. I also noticed a lot of people asking for an update. So here it is, one that even I was shocked by as I lived it. It's not exactly the earth-shattering blow-up most people thought it would be. My husband came home and he immediately knew I had something on my mind. I explained the whole thing, and he was livid at his brother. Thankfully, he gave me a hug, and I broke down crying from distress. He assured me I did everything right, and that it wasn't my fault. After that, he went to call his brother and tell him that he knew what happened, and wanted to talk to him one-on-one. Well, it turns out that his brother and his fiancée were already on their way to our house to talk about it. As soon as the other girls left, not long after me, my brother-in-law confessed everything to his fiancée. First, she slapped him, deserved. But after, they talked and he promised her that his feelings for her were genuine. She told him he needed to apologize to me and his brother, and then they could go from there. So they came over. My brother-in-law and my husband went to talk privately while I talked with his fiancée. We both cried and talked for about an hour. I promised her I never had any feelings for him and had no idea he ever had feelings for me. Apparently, she had caught him gazing at me on a family vacation once and thought maybe he had some attraction to me. So while this sucked, she felt some relief that she wasn't crazy for thinking it. He admitted she was right and thinks his feelings at one point were rooted in jealousy that his younger brother was further in life than him, and he attributed that to me in some way. This was new to him as the older brother, and they hadn't compared themselves much growing up because they had vastly different paths. It was like comparing apples to oranges, but now there was some perceived competition on a similar playing field. The feelings had faded, but when she came home saying she found a dress, he felt an urge to come clean. He admitted he wished he had said it differently or worked through it with some help to understand what the feelings were before making this whole mess. I don't know about all that, but I guess I could understand it with a clear head. I mean, if the Oedipus complex can be a thing, then I can see him having some complex feelings that manifested as attraction, but didn't affect his love for his fiancée. This all happened in one night, and he was visibly distressed over it, so I'd find it hard to believe he could weave a whole story like that. I'm inclined to believe him. When my husband and his brother came back to the living room, my brother-in-law looked like a puppy who just got in trouble. He also looked a little roughed up, but I didn't question it. We all talked and he apologized to me for putting me in this position. Where it landed, their wedding is on hold privately while they figure out the next steps. Thankfully, nothing was booked, and no dates were sent out. We had gone wedding dress shopping just to get an idea, and it was just luck that she fell in love with the dress. They're going to couples therapy to decide if and how they can move past this. There is clear love between the two of them. Things will be tense, but I think he feels genuine remorse, and my potential sister-in-law says she holds no ill will against me. If they move forward, she'd still love to have me as a bridesmaid if I'm willing. My husband and his brother have some serious work to do on their relationship, and my friendship with my brother-in-law will never be the same again. But we'll see what happens from here. We also agreed to keep this between the four of us. They will be honest that they're doing some premarital counseling before setting dates or fully planning the wedding. I saw a lot of comments telling me to keep my mouth shut since no harm was done. While I guess I can see your point, I just couldn't imagine keeping something like this from my husband, especially if it came out later and he found out I withheld it. Trust is huge in our partnership, and even just omission feels like a betrayal of that. Sure, I knew this could blow up if I let it out, but that would be my brother-in-law's fault, not mine. He had all the control over telling me what he did. Thanks to everyone who helped me through that scary processing time alone. His explanation doesn't make sense to me. I'd understand him coming clean to his fiancée about having a harmless crush on his sister-in-law that faded with time, just to not keep anything from her. But him speaking to you first and asking if you reciprocate the feelings sounds like he was shooting his shot once and for all, but it didn't work out in his favor, so he changed the narrative. Because what else was he possibly trying to achieve? If the feelings he has for you were misguided jealousy that faded, wouldn't it be better if he said nothing at all to avoid straining his relationship with his brother? I just can't make sense of it. I can't believe that after confessing to you and his fiancée catching him checking you out privately, she's still willing to work it out with him. Well, that's on them to figure out, and I hope they do either way. Well, sounds like things have been addressed as best they can. Wedding is postponed, there have been throughout talks about his feelings for you, your brother-in-law and future sister-in-law will attend couples therapy. Might be worth going to couples therapy with your husband or individual therapy too if you feel you need it. I would suggest not being a bridesmaid in the wedding if it does happen. Best to keep this at arm's length, even if your future sister-in-law is understanding and supportive as you mentioned. Best of luck. It's difficult to navigate interpersonal conflicts like this, but it seems to be well managed so far. Thanks. My husband and I actually have a couple appointments a year with a couples therapist. We call it our maintenance check. This will likely come up, but I'm not terribly concerned about it from our relationship's point of view. Second update. I wanted to address a couple of common responses I've been seeing here and give another next day update. To everyone telling me not to tell anyone or to give him a mulligan, that was never an option for me. My husband and I are a team, and we don't keep secrets, only surprises. It's something we agreed on before getting married. If I didn't tell him and it came out later, it would be as good as me lying to his face. I did nothing wrong, and I know my husband would stand by me, so that just wasn't an option I was willing to consider. To all the claims that I'd be blowing up multiple families, I'm not the one who confessed feelings. He opened his can of worms, and it's not my responsibility to keep this secret. If this does blow up his relationship or his family, that's on him, not me. There were a lot of other common themes here, but those two were very prevalent, and I wanted to address them. For this small update, my husband actually called his brother today and asked if he wanted to go to one of their favorite bars to watch the game together. This is something pretty common for them, or for all of us, to do before all this. My brother-in-law was shocked but agreed. Shortly after, his fiancée called me and asked if she could come over while they were gone. She was honest and said it might be awkward, but we used to do this a lot, either doing some DIY projects together, working on a puzzle, or watching movies. She wanted to see if I'd be open to keeping this up as long as we were both comfortable while they work through their issues so our relationship doesn't deteriorate. It meant the world to me, and I said of course. All four of us agreed that they, brother-in-law and fiancé, would start seeing a couples therapist as soon as possible, and my brother-in-law would see one on his own. Until they get a better grasp of what his feelings were/are and their own plan, we won't all get together, and my brother-in-law and I will not be alone together. My potential sister-in-law is one of the most level-headed and kind-hearted people I've ever met. My brother-in-law used to have a lot of walls up that she naturally broke down, and this behavior is so out of character for him. His proposal to her was so well-planned and thoughtful, tailored to her down to the smallest detail. He picked her a new outfit, had a perfect ring, even made sure the blanket at the setting was her favorite color, a detail he planned intentionally, and he arranged to have her parents there, even though they live hours away. It's clear that he loves her. I truly don't think that even if I had said yes, he would have left her to be with me. Not that it would have ever been an option. I truly see a road forward for them and all of us. We're all committed to finding the best outcome for everyone involved. My marriage is solid, and we have our marriage maintenance couples therapy appointment coming up soon anyway, so we'll check in with an outside opinion. But I'm not worried. They're going to a consultation with a therapist from the same practice in just a couple of days. It obviously won't be a quick or smooth fix, as this was messed up, but I'm much more optimistic than many comments here, and I wanted to share. Girl, I think you're such a great person. I wish I had someone like you in my life. You and your husband being a team against all problems is relationship goals at its finest. You being so honest about this and managing through all this mess gives me the impression that you're a top-tier communicator. I wasn't always, but I've put in a lot of work, and so has my husband. It was actually part of our vows to always evolve together and communicate. It's a learned skill for sure, but the right partner makes it easier too. Future sister-in-law is pathetic for staying with that man. All I'm gonna say. I don't think it's pathetic to give something, even a messed up situation, a little extra time to decide whether to move forward. The way she's looking at it is that she can leave, and nobody would blame her, and she wouldn't blame herself. But she loves him, and for her own peace of mind, she wants to take a beat to more deeply understand the situation before deciding to stay or leave. She was planning a future with him, and if she just leaves immediately, she'll have a lot of inner turmoil to work through, and a lot of what-ifs. If she takes a few therapy sessions and decides to leave, she'll feel more confident in her decision. That's her choice to make. You may think it's pathetic, but it's what she decided was best for her. The story is kind of anticlimactic. Couldn't you add in a tiger or a sword fight? Here's a little more of a climax. Turns out, she had a physical attraction / little crush on a coworker at one point, about 8 months into their relationship. That's why she has a little more sympathy and is willing to try to work on it. She said it can happen without changing the fact that she loves him. Maybe the coworker was a spy or something to add drama? Kidding, but there was that slight development. Last story. My sister ruined my party. My sister is 30 and makes one bad decision after another. She dropped out of high school, got pregnant at 22 with a guy who was freshly out of jail, and posts on social media as a bear mama. But in reality, our mother is raising her child. She couldn't, or wouldn't, get a normal job, and did video chatting for a few years. I am 27 and I recently celebrated my birthday. She has this tendency to ruin everything. She was invited to the family dinner, and during that dinner, 2 days ago, she texted 2 people who were there, claiming she had slept with our neighbor's husband. She added that he was bad in bed and called his wife annoying, saying she planned to tell her. I very much doubt the neighbor slept with her. He is a very decent guy. I don't want to be mean, but my sister is overweight, posts on social media with her breasts almost entirely visible, and wears vulgar makeup. Regardless, she chose to make this claim right before my party, so everyone was talking about it instead of celebrating. Last year, she pulled a similar stunt. I got a promotion at work and she came home crying, claiming she was SA'd by her superior at work. I don't know if it's true, but the guy is 70 and was indeed flirty with her, grossly so in my opinion. I couldn't understand why she entertained him. When I told her to take care and stay away from him, she called me a prude. 6 months ago, my mother and I helped her find a place to stay. She moved to another city for work, and what did we hear? She tried to seduce her roommate's boyfriend, but the guy rejected her. I've distanced myself from her, but I'm close to my mother who loves her. Well, because she's her daughter, and that's normal, I guess. I also love my niece. My sister, however, cannot integrate into society. She's very conflictual, always aggressive, and every time something good happens in my life, she comes up with some super drama that has just happened to her. Either she's been SA'd or she slept with someone's man, though there's no proof for either. Go out to a restaurant with some friends to celebrate. Don't tell your mother or sister your plans. Leaving them out of the equation solves your problem entirely. And don't tell them about the next good thing you'd normally celebrate. Just go have a good time with friends. Stop sharing your personal info with them at all. I will stop doing it, but I really do wonder, what were the chances that she didn't get triggered? When our cousin posted a very beautiful picture on social media wearing a nice long dress, 5 minutes after watching her story, my sister said out of nowhere how she slept with a man who was having his wedding the next day. I was like, what? I don't understand why you let the stupidity get to you. The statements are so ridiculous and outlandish, I wouldn't even care. I would literally get to the point where I don't even hear it anymore. She's not actively trying to ruin your life. Stop letting these stupid statements bother you.